Administration making a push for more affordable cars and trucks. Philip O joins us now with the latest.
Good morning, Andrew. You guys mentioned before the break sticker shock and the administration's efforts to remove some of that sticker shock by making vehicles more affordable. This is the beginning of their efforts today to say, look, we need to make vehicles more affordable. The average monthly payment, and this is how most people look at buying a vehicle. Look at the percentage of auto loans that include a monthly payment of at least $1,000, if not more.
The 7 affordable cars they actually drive, the ones they tell their own families to buy. And premium car brands, they absolutely hate that you're about to find out. See, here's what they don't want you to know. While dealerships push $60,000 luxury vehicles with cutting-edge technology, mechanics are quietly laughing because behind closed doors, they're driving cars that cost a fraction of that price. And they know something you don't. These aren't the cars in the commercials. They're not the ones celebrities drive. But mechanics, the people who actually fix cars for a living, choose these 7 models over and over again. Why? Because they've seen what breaks. They know what lasts. And they've discovered something the premium brands bury deep in the fine print. So what are these 7 affordable cars that mechanics trust with their own money? And what don't they want premium brands catching you finding out? To find out which cars mechanics actually trust, a clear and direct approach was taken. 43 automotive technicians from Germany, the UK, France, Poland, and Romania were contacted. Each one a full-time professional working in independent garages, not dealerships. They weren't asked for opinions about the newest gadgets or the best-looking models. Instead, a single question cut through the noise. What car do you personally drive, and why? No brand sponsorships, no showroom pressure, no anonymous online surveys, just honest answers from people who fix cars for a living. Every response was verified with registration details to ensure accuracy. Only daily drivers counted, no project cars, courtesy vehicles, or company demos. And to keep things relevant, any model introduced after 2024 was excluded, since new cars often hide their real problems for the first few years. This filter left out the latest touchscreen-heavy models and focused on vehicles with enough road history to prove themselves. The list was built on the principle of lived experience. Mechanics were free to name any make or model, but the same patterns kept repeating. Straightforward engineering, proven hybrid or naturally aspirated engines, and transmissions that could handle abuse. If a car needed proprietary diagnostic tools or forced owners into expensive dealer-only repairs, it didn't make the cut. If it had a reputation for turbo or dual-clutch failures, it was out. Only cars with a track record for reliability and affordable maintenance survived the process. The result is a collection of vehicles that stand out not because of advertising or hype, but because the people who know cars best choose them for themselves. This isn't a list built from magazine reviews or influencer hype. It's the outcome of a simple, honest question asked to the people who see the real cost of car ownership every single day. Lars spent his days under the hoods of German luxury cars in a busy Hamburg workshop. BMWs, Audis, Mercedes, he knew them inside out. But when his own BMW 3 Series started rattling at just 90,000 kilometers, even he wasn't prepared for what came next. The diagnosis was brutal: a failed timing chain. The repair bill? 4,200 euros, more than half the car's value. Lars wasn't some weekend tinkerer. He rebuilt engines for a living. But this wasn't a matter of skill. It was a matter of design. The timing chain was buried deep, requiring hours just to reach, and the replacement parts alone cost more than an entire year of basic maintenance on a Toyota. After that, Lars had enough. He sold the BMW for a loss and walked straight into a Toyota dealership. That day, he drove out in a Corolla Hybrid, not because it was flashy or made a statement, but because he was tired of sleepless nights waiting for the next warning light. In the 2 years since, the Corolla hasn't asked for anything but oil, filters, and new tires. No surprise failures, No 1,000 euros diagnostic fees, no calls from the garage with bad news, just quiet, predictable miles. Lars's story isn't rare. He's one of dozens of mechanics who fix premium cars for paying customers, but refuse to own them themselves. The lesson is simple, and stings a little for anyone who's ever dreamed of owning a badge with prestige. When you see the real cost of luxury up close, you start to value something else entirely. For Lars, and for many others, peace of mind is worth far more than a logo on the grille. That's how a 30,000 euros Corolla Hybrid became the car a German BMW specialist trusts with his own money, proof that reliability isn't about price, it's about priorities. Anna's Suzuki Swift doesn't turn heads in traffic. It doesn't have sculpted lines or a badge that makes neighbors jealous. But in her small town outside Cluj, it's the car every taxi driver fights to get. Anna has been running her Swift as a taxi for almost 8 years. The odometer rolled past 340,000 kilometers last winter. No engine rebuilds, no transmission swaps, just a string of oil changes, new filters, and a set of tires every 60,000 kilometers. The original clutch finally started slipping at 270,000 kilometers. She paid 400 euros for a full replacement, parts and labor included. Brake pads? 80 euros, fitted while she finished her lunch break. That's the entire repair history. No drama, no mystery warning lights, no days lost to the dealer's waiting room. Other drivers in her fleet have tried their luck with newer, more expensive hatchbacks. A few went for small SUVs, chasing comfort and cargo space. But when the repair bills started stacking up, 500 euros for a sensor here, 1,200 euros for a failed turbo there, they quietly returned to the Swift. Mechanics in the city know exactly why. The 1.2-liter engine is simple, naturally aspirated, and doesn't rely on complicated electronics. There's no turbo to cook itself in summer traffic, no dual-clutch gearbox waiting to drop a 4-figure bomb at the worst possible time. Even the dashboard is old school. Physical buttons, a real handbrake, nothing that needs a software update to work. Anna's Swift isn't just a car, it's a rolling case study in durability. She spends less than 500 euros a year keeping it on the road, and that includes everything from wiper blades to the occasional headlight bulb. Insurance is 280 euros. Fuel economy hovers around 5 liters per 100 kilometers even with city driving, and spare parts are available at every corner shop. When asked if she'd ever trade up to something flashier, Anna just laughs. As long as her Swift keeps starting every morning, she says, she sees no reason to change. For mechanics, this is the baseline. A car that shrugs off abuse, runs on pocket change, and keeps earning its keep long after the competition has retired to the scrapyard. Marek never planned to become a Mazda loyalist. He'd spent years at a Warsaw repair shop, fixing everything from battered French hatchbacks to German SUVs with more sensors than sense. His own car, a Mazda CX-30, raised eyebrows among his colleagues. Why not something flashier, with a turbo badge or a touchscreen that could launch a space shuttle? Marek's answer was always the same. He wanted a car that worked, day in and day out, without drama or digital headaches. The CX-30 isn't the cheapest crossover on paper. New, it costs as much as some entry-level BMWs, yet mechanics like Marek keep buying them. The reason sits under the hood. A 2.0-liter naturally aspirated engine, no turbo, no hybrid complexity, and a manual gearbox that feels almost nostalgic. Mazda's 7-year warranty covers up to 150,000 kilometers, but Marek's CX-30 passed that milestone last autumn. The only things he's replaced? Oil, filters, brake pads, and a set of tires. No warning lights, no limp home modes, no desperate calls to the dealership. Breakdown. Statistics back up his experience. The CX-30 reports a 0.3% breakdown rate in ADAC's records, putting it among the top performers in its class. In comparison, premium crossovers from Germany and France average 2 to 3 times as many callouts, often for complex electronics or turbocharger failures. Marek has seen it firsthand. He's towed more luxury SUVs with failed sensors or transmission faults than he can count, each one a lesson in what not to buy. Fuel economy is another quiet advantage. Marek averages 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers, driving a mix of city traffic and long highway stretches between family in Krakow and clients in Lodz. That's not hybrid territory, but it's close enough, and with regular petrol, not premium blends. Insurance runs lower than most rivals, and parts are available at any independent shop. No corporate markups or waiting weeks for back orders. For Marek, the appeal of the CX-30 isn't about looks or badge envy. It's about knowing he won't lose sleep over a dashboard warning or a surprise 3,000 euros bill. The car just works, even as the kilometers pile up. Mechanics call it boring perfection, and in a world where too many cars chase gimmicks over substance, that's exactly what they're after. Eleanor's Corolla Hybrid stands as quiet proof that hybrids aren't just a trend, they're built to last. She's a veteran mechanic from Lyon, a woman who's seen every kind of breakdown roll through her family's workshop since she was a teenager. When her neighbors talk about cars, it's Eleanor they trust for advice. But her own Corolla Hybrid, now with 380,000 kilometers on the clock, has given her almost nothing to talk about. No engine rebuilds, no hybrid battery drama, no sudden transmission failures. In over a decade, her maintenance log reads like a checklist: oil, filters, tires, and brake pads. That's it. The Corolla's secret isn't flashy engineering or next-generation tech. Under the hood, the hybrid system works with a 1.8-liter petrol engine and a battery pack that just keeps going. Fuel economy hovers at 4.0 liters per 100 kilometers, even after all those miles. Eleanor's annual repair costs have averaged just 650 euros, including the occasional set of wiper blades and the one time she needed a new water pump at 260,000 kilometers. She's never been stranded, never had to fight with a dealer over warranty coverage, and never had to wait weeks for parts to arrive from overseas. What surprises most people isn't just the reliability, it's the value that comes with it. When Eleanor checked the resale market, she found her Corolla Hybrid would still fetch 68% of its original price, even after years of daily use. Most cars lose their value fast, but the Corolla's reputation for longevity keeps demand strong. Taxi fleets in France and Germany snap up used hybrids, knowing they'll run for hundreds of thousands of kilometers with only basic care. Mechanics like Eleanor have seen these cars outlast their rivals by a wide margin. Where some turbocharged engines start showing trouble at 80,000 kilometers, her hybrid keeps gliding along, silent and unfazed. Eleanor's story has become a benchmark among her peers. The Corolla Hybrid isn't a car you buy for status or style points. It's the car you buy when you want your money to work as hard as you do. For mechanics, that's the ultimate compliment. And for anyone tired of expensive surprises, it's a lesson in what really matters. A car that simply refuses to quit. Julian's hands are stained with oil, but his mind is sharp as ever. He's spent the last 15 years in a Paris garage, surrounded by turbocharged engines that promise efficiency, but too often deliver breakdowns. Yet when it came time to pick his own car, Julien surprised even his closest friends. He chose a Honda Civic 1.5 VTEC turbo, manual, of course. Not a hybrid, not a naturally aspirated engine, but a turbo. Most mechanics would have called it a gamble. Julien called it a calculated risk. The secret is in the way Honda built this engine. Unlike the fragile turbos he sees fail at 80,000 kilometers, usually from oil starvation or carbon buildup, the Civic's 1.5 VTEC uses both direct and port fuel injection. That means less carbon on the valves, fewer costly cleanings, and a longer life for the engine itself. Julian's Civic has already passed 200,000 kilometers, still running on its original turbo. The only things he's paid for: oil, filters, and a timing belt at 180,000. No turbo replacements, no warning lights, no moments of panic. Julian's fuel log tells its own story. Over 5 years, his Civic has averaged 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers, better than most rivals, and not far behind the hybrids in his shop. He drives hard, too. Daily commutes across the peripherique, weekend trips to the coast, and the occasional blast down the autoroute. The car doesn't flinch. He's never had to top up coolant between services, and the clutch still bites cleanly after countless Parisian traffic jams. What sets the Civic apart isn't just the engine, it's the manual gearbox. Julien avoids the CVT transmission found in many turbo compacts, knowing that even a minor fault can mean €2,000 for repair. The manual is simple, strong, and cheap to fix if it ever does wear out. Parts are everywhere, and nothing requires a trip to the dealer or a proprietary scan tool. That's peace of mind you can't put a price on. The Civic 1.5 Turbo stands as proof that not all turbocharged engines are a ticking clock. When designed with care and paired with a manual, turbo power can last. Julian's car is living evidence, a turbo that doesn't self-destruct, a gearbox that shrugs off abuse, and a repair record that would make any premium brand blush. For mechanics who know where corners get cut, the Civic is the rare exception that earns their trust. Katerina grew up in the outskirts of Brno, where a Skoda badge isn't just a symbol, it's a way of life. She's a mechanic with a reputation for fixing anything with 4 wheels, but she's also known for her blunt honesty. Ask her what she drives, and she won't hesitate. A pre-2024 Skoda Octavia 1.5 TSI, manual. Not because it's trendy, but because it works. There is a certain satisfaction in a car that does not try to outsmart you. The Octavia's manual gearbox is a rarity these days, as automatics and dual-clutch transmissions take over European roads. But for Katerina, the manual is not just about nostalgia, it's about control and cost. She can swap a clutch in her own driveway for less than €300, and if anything does go wrong, the parts are everywhere. In the Czech Republic, even the smallest town has a shop with Octavia spares on the shelf. That network stretches across Europe, from Poland to Portugal, making repairs quick and cheap. The Octavia's reputation is not built on flashy features or digital dashboards. It is built on numbers. TÜV inspections show a 98.7% pass rate for pre-2024 models, outscoring many so-called premium brands. Fuel economy lands at 5.9 liters per 100 kilometers, enough to keep running costs low, even with today's fuel prices. Katerina's annual maintenance bill rarely cracks €700, and she has not faced a single breakdown in over 120,000 kilometers. She has seen colleagues gamble on newer models with mild hybrid systems or digital-only controls, only to get stung by proprietary diagnostics and dealer-only repairs. That is why she sticks to the basics: a simple, turbocharged engine, a real stick shift, and a car that shrugs off the daily grind. In the world of European mechanics, the Octavia manual has become the quiet favorite, a car that just keeps going, long after the marketing fades. Tom's garage sits at the edge of a winding English B road, surrounded by the kind of scenery that begs for a sports car. He's the local authority on clutches and timing belts, but when he's not fixing other people's mistakes, he's out driving his own pride and joy, a Mazda MX-5. Not the latest turbocharged rocket, but a simple, honest roadster with a manual gearbox and a naturally aspirated engine. For Tom, it's more than a car. It's proof that fun doesn't have to come with a warning light or a 4-figure repair bill. His MX-5 has already crossed the 300,000 kilometer mark. The paint's worn thin on the door handles, but the engine still sings at the top of every gear. Tom keeps a stack of service receipts in the glove box. Oil changes, spark plugs, a new clutch at 220,000, and a set of tires every few years. That's it. In 14 years, his annual repair costs have averaged just €550, less than what some of his customers pay for a single sensor on their German coupes. Fuel economy sits at 6.3 liters per 100 kilometers, even with Tom's heavy right foot. Insurance is affordable, and parts are everywhere. No waiting weeks for a shipment from overseas. When the rare breakdown does happen, Tom knows he can fix it himself in an afternoon, with tools he's owned since the 90s. People often ask why a mechanic would choose a convertible over something more practical. Tom just grins and points to the odometer. The MX-5 isn't just reliable, it's lively. Every drive is a reminder that simplicity and longevity can still coexist. In a world obsessed with touchscreens and turbochargers, Tom's Mazda proves that the purest joys are often the ones that last the longest. Sophia's Yaris Cross Hybrid doesn't need to shout. It just quietly does what every so-called premium crossover promises and rarely delivers. She's a mechanic in Bucharest, working long hours in a city where gridlock is a daily fact of life and potholes test a car's patience. Her last car, a turbocharged hatchback, drained her wallet with every surprise repair. When it finally left her stranded on a rainy Monday, Sophia decided she was done gambling. She took her savings and bought a Yaris Cross Hybrid, 30,800 euros, more than she'd ever spent on a car, and worth every cent. What she got in return was something most drivers only dream about: predictability. The Yaris Cross Hybrid sips fuel at just 3.8 to 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers, even in stop-and-go traffic. Sophia's annual fuel bill barely cracks 820 euros, despite the city's rising prices. She hasn't seen a mechanic's invoice for anything but routine service, oil, filters, brake pads. No warning lights, no battery drama, no mysterious electrical gremlins. The hybrid system, paired with a simple 1.5-liter petrol engine, just keeps going. Sophia's logbook is boring by design, a list of dates and mileage, not disasters. But the real surprise came when she checked the resale market. Even after years of daily abuse, the Yaris Cross Hybrid holds its value like nothing else in its class. While rivals lose their shine and their worth, the Toyota badge means demand stays strong. Taxi companies, families, even rideshare drivers compete for used models. Sophia knows she could sell hers tomorrow and get back most of what she paid, a rare comfort in a world where most cars lose half their value before the first set of tires wears out. For mechanics like Sophia, the Yaris Cross Hybrid is more than just a smart buy. It's a quiet rebellion against the myth that quality demands a luxury badge. Every kilometer is proof. Reliability isn't about status, it's about smart engineering and peace of mind. That's why, when the countdown ends, the Yaris Cross Hybrid sits on top. Not because it's the flashiest, but because it's the car mechanics trust above all others. Patterns start to appear when mechanics are asked what they trust with their own money. Nearly every car on their list shares the same mechanical DNA. Simplicity over flash, proven components instead of the latest experiment. The engines are either naturally aspirated or use hybrid systems refined over decades, not high-strung turbos or early adopter tech. Gearboxes are manual or basic automatics, avoiding the complexity and cost of dual clutch or continuously variable transmissions. Inside, there's a preference for physical buttons and dials, controls you can operate with gloves on, even after a decade of wear. Touchscreens and digital-only dashboards rarely make the cut, not because mechanics fear technology, but because they've seen what happens when a single faulty sensor can take down an entire system. Parts availability is another common thread. Whether it's a clutch for a Skoda or brake pads for a Suzuki, mechanics choose cars that can be fixed in an afternoon, not left waiting on a proprietary part from a distant warehouse. Each of these choices adds up to a kind of checklist, a blueprint for longevity that's quietly passed from one generation of technicians to the next. When you break down the numbers, these models average nearly half the breakdowns of their segment rivals. It's not luck or brand loyalty, it's a deliberate decision to back engineering that stands the test of time. Stacking up the numbers tells a story even premium brands can't spin. Over a decade of ownership, the gap between these mechanic-approved cars and a typical 45,000 euros luxury sedan is impossible to ignore. Start with fuel. The Yaris Cross Hybrid sips just 3.8 to 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers, while the average premium sedan gulps nearly twice that. At today's prices, that's a 2,400 euros difference in fuel alone. Maintenance and repairs tilt the scales even further. Owners of these 7 models rarely see annual repair bills above 800 euros. Compare that to 2,000 euros or more that luxury drivers routinely shell out, often for issues as simple as a faulty sensor or a transmission hiccup. Over 10 years, the savings add up to at least 12,000 euros, money that doesn't vanish into a dealership's service bay. Depreciation is where the real shock comes. A Yaris Cross or Corolla Hybrid can hold on to 68% of its value after 5 years. Most premium sedans, they drop to 45% or less, bleeding away thousands before the first major service. Add it all up, and the total cost of ownership for these reliable picks lands 30% lower than the so-called status symbols. For mechanics, it's not just about reliability, it's about keeping more of what you earn. Luxury badges promise peace of mind, but mechanics know the truth hiding behind the chrome and touchscreen gloss. Take the dreaded DSG transmission, hailed as cutting-edge by German brands, but in the workshop, it's a 3,200 euros gamble. When the mechatronics unit fails, there's no patch or quick fix. Owners face a single, painful choice: pay up or park the car for good. And it isn't rare. In independent shop records across Europe, DSG faults appear 3 times as often as manual gearbox issues in cars under 35,000 euros. Insurance companies have caught on, quietly raising premiums for dual-clutch models by as much as 25% since 2020. Then there's the touchscreen revolution. Touch-sensitive dashboards look futuristic until they don't. 12% of premium models built after 2020 end up back in the shop with frozen screens or blank displays. When a climate control or radio stops responding, the entire center console can require replacement. That's not a quick 80 euros part swap. It's often a 1,000 euros bill just to get the basics working again. Hidden costs go deeper still. Newer luxury models lock out independent mechanics with proprietary diagnostic systems. A simple warning light can mean a trip to the dealer, where unlocking the code costs another 1,000 euros even before repairs begin. For mechanics, these aren't just annoyances, they're deal breakers. When a car is designed to keep owners captive to the brand, it's no surprise the people who fix them every day walk away. Premium promises fade fast when the real price is paid in stress, wasted time, and money lost to problems that never should have existed. The 7 affordable cars they actually drive, the ones they tell their own families to buy. And premium car brands? They absolutely hate that you're about to find out. See, here's what they don't want you to know. While dealerships push $60,000 luxury vehicles with cutting-edge technology, mechanics are quietly laughing, because behind closed doors, they're driving cars that cost a fraction of that price, and they know something you don't. These aren't the cars in the commercials. They're not the ones celebrities drive. But mechanics, the people who actually fix cars for a living, they choose these 7 models over and over again. Why? Because they've seen what breaks. They know what lasts. And they've discovered something the premium brands buried deep in the fine print. So what are these 7 affordable cars that mechanics trust with their own money? And what don't they want premium brands catching you finding out? In Madrid, Javier stands by his battered Honda Civic. He's fixed everything from luxury SUVs to city runabouts. But when asked about his own car, he doesn't hesitate. It's the only one that never leaves me stranded. Over in Antwerp, Lotta keeps her Mazda MX-5 running year-round, rain or shine. She says, "I could buy something fancier, but I'd rather spend my weekends driving than waiting for parts." In Milan, Marco's Skoda Octavia is more than a daily commuter. It's his rolling toolbox. I know every bolt. If something goes wrong, I fix it myself in an hour. That's real freedom, he explains. Up north in Rotterdam, Willem has watched premium cars roll in and out of his family's garage for decades. Yet his own Suzuki Swift has quietly crossed 200,000 kilometers with nothing but basic care. It just works, he shrugs. And in Stockholm, Sophia swears by her Corolla Hybrid. Winters here punish cars. The hybrids outlast everything else. From southern Spain to the edge of Scandinavia, the message is the same. Mechanics trust these cars, not because of advertising or price tags, but because they've seen what lasts. Their choices echo across borders and brands. Simple engines, honest gearboxes, and reliability that doesn't care about prestige. Right now, car buyers face soaring prices and increasingly complex tech, yet the most trusted hands in the industry steer clear of luxury promises. Across Europe, models with proven reliability quietly outsell their premium rivals year after year. In a market built on marketing, substance still wins. The smartest choice isn't the flashiest badge, it's the one that keeps you moving. Which car would you trust with your next decade? Share your pick in the comments below.